The day I thought would mark the happiest moment of my life turned into my darkest. The hall was glowing with lights and filled with guests ready to celebrate. But then my phone rang. And everything changed. It was about Helen, the girl who had been haunting Larry for years. The one everyone whispered about, but no one faced, and on the very day of our engagement, she tried to end her own life. Without a second thought, Larry walked away from me. He didn't even look back. I waited. Minutes turned into hours. Guests slowly left, confused and silent. I called him again and again, 21 times, no answer. Finally, on the 22nd call, he picked up. His voice was cold and tired. "Irene, can you just be understanding for once? Understanding?" How could I, when he left me alone on the day he promised never to leave? Larry and I weren't strangers. We grew up side by side. Childhood friends, neighbors, classmates. Our lives were woven together like a perfect story. I remember the night he finally told me he loved me. It was New Year's Eve, fireworks painting the sky. He looked at me and said, "I've waited forever for this moment. Will you be mine?" I believed in forever that night. And for a while it seemed like we had it. But admiration brought its shadows. In college, Larry was popular. Girls watched him like a prince on a stage. I wasn't jealous. I was proud. Until I noticed Helen. She appeared one day, standing quietly behind Larry, holding a piece of paper, watching us like I'd ruined her world. Larry said she looked like me, but not as pretty. That was the first warning I ignored. Helen wasn't just a passing shadow. She became a constant presence. My best friend noticed it too. "She's got your eyes," she whispered one afternoon, "and a tear mole right here." She pointed softly near Helen's cheekbone. Girls with tear moles often carry turbulent love stories. We laughed it off then, but I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling growing inside me. By the time we were juniors, Helen wasn't just a name anymore. She was part of our world, always lurking, always near. I remember my birthday that year. Larry said he wanted to surprise me with a party, a break from the stress of studies. I was excited, thinking it would be a night for us to celebrate our love. But when Larry arrived, he wasn't alone. Helen was there too. I felt the air shift as she stood quietly beside him, eyes locked on me like she already knew the ending of our story. Larry introduced her casually. "This is Helen. We met on a hiking trip." My best friend's gaze hardened. "What a nice name," she said sharply, barely masking her distrust. Helen said nothing, her expression unreadable. The party was awkward. Larry piled food on my plate like everything was normal, even gave me pieces of ginger, knowing how much I hated it. Once he would have gently removed them for me. After the party, I confronted him quietly. "You shouldn't have brought her." He sighed, eyes tired. "I didn't invite her. She just showed up with a gift." I didn't want to be rude. He held up a small heart-shaped keychain. "She said it's for us. A blessing for eternal happiness." It felt like a cruel joke. I told him I needed space, boundaries. That was all I asked. But boundaries don't stop rumors. Soon the student forum exploded with accusations. Helen was called a homewrecker, a manipulator. People whispered about matching keychains, secret meetings and intentions to break us apart. My best friend was furious. "You need to cut her out, now." But I stayed silent, not out of weakness, but because I believed Larry would choose the right path. I was wrong. One afternoon, Helen came to me, tears in her eyes, voice trembling. "I didn't do anything wrong. Please help me. It's ruining my grades, my life." I didn't look at her. I told her coldly, "I don't have time for this." Yet I did have time to find the truth. That night I called a close friend, a whiz with computers, and asked him to trace the source of the rumors. It led back to Helen. I confronted Larry. "She's behind it. Are you still defending her?" He hesitated. "Irene, you investigated her?" "Yes." He looked at me like I'd crossed a line. "She's just a girl who got carried away. She didn't mean harm. She likes me." I smiled, cold and slow. "If that's what you believe, fine. Let's drop it." He reached for me, relieved, but I stepped back. "Larry, pain doesn't justify disrespect. This is about respect." He frowned. "Then what do you want? Handle it, or we're done." The rest of the semester was silence between us. Helen vanished from campus, but the damage was done. I began to prepare myself for the fall. The day of our engagement was supposed to be a milestone, a beautiful celebration of a promise made long ago. Larry stood beside me in his suit, greeting guests with a polite smile. Then the call came. "It's Helen," he whispered. "She's in the hospital. She tried to end her life." I froze. The world stopped. You're not going, are you? I have to. She's alone. She needs someone. She has doctors. But I need you here. Today. He kissed my forehead like a goodbye and walked out. And just like that, Larry left me alone at our engagement party. The guests were kind but shocked. I smiled through the pain, making excuses. He had an urgent lab project. No one believed me. Not even myself. My best friend stayed by my side, helping hide the cracks. But once the hall emptied, I broke. I cried. Not for the lost engagement, but for all the years I'd given away. I had imagined a love story where I was the heroine, but I was never the main character. After the guests left, I drove to our favorite hilltop, where we watched sunrises together. I called him again and again, 22 times. Each unanswered call was like another thread snapping between us. Finally he answered. It's chaos here. Can't you just be understanding for once? His voice was cold, distant. Something inside me shattered for good. Let's break up. He tried to speak, but I hung up. No second chances, no hesitation. I went home, packed my things and made a choice. Larry had been a part of every season of my life, but spring doesn't wait for winter to finish mourning. I buried myself in my studies, excelling in every class. Professors praised my discipline. Only my best friend noticed the changes. How did your round face become so sharp? She asked one night, touching my cheek. I smiled but said nothing. At night, I still cried into my pillow. Larry tried to reach me. I ignored his calls and texts. He waited outside my lectures. I walked past him without a word. I never blocked his number. Not because I couldn't let go, but because I already had. Jack came quietly into my life. No grand gestures, no pressure. He simply showed up. When I was overwhelmed by stress, he reminded me to eat. When I was silent, he let me be. When I smiled, truly smiled, he noticed. His attention was a balm I never asked for but deeply needed. One afternoon, I met with my professor. Jack was there, speaking with him. I'm looking for an assistant, he said. My professor smiled. Take Irene, she's the best I have. Just like that, I became Jack's assistant at the law firm. He gave me files and tasks, but always with the same warning look. Don't overwork, don't forget to rest. I'm watching out for you. Larry lingered in the shadows, waiting. Then came the night everything changed. Jessica burst into our dorm, phone in hand. Irene, is this Helen with your Jack? The photo was blurry. Helen standing at the firm's entrance, talking to Jack. My heart dropped, but I breathed. Jack had warned me. Helen wasn't his client. He didn't even speak to her. I trusted him. The next morning, Helen appeared outside the dorm, eyes wild with fury. You won, Irene, she spat. Larry doesn't want me. He said I'm not you. He rejected me. I was calm. That's between you and Larry. No, she hissed. It's between you and me now. Clinging to Jack won't save you. Her eyes were unstable. I began to walk away. Suddenly she lunged. A knife flashed. Jack stepped in front, taking the cut on his arm. I screamed. He winced but didn't move. As long as you're safe, he whispered. Police arrived. Helen was taken away screaming. Why do you have everything? Why does everyone protect you? I looked her in the eyes. Because I respect myself. Helen was charged with attempted assault. Her future, the one she tried to steal, vanished. Jack's wound needed stitches. I stayed by his side in the hospital, gently wiping blood from his wrist. I'm sorry. For what? For standing in front of you. He laughed softly. I'd do it again. We didn't talk about love yet, but his presence said everything. Months later, on my birthday, we gathered at Jack's apartment. Jessica, my cousin, Jack and I. Laughter filled the room, though quiet tension hung between Jessica and my cousin. Turns out, Jessica had loved Jack for years. Maybe he was finally noticing her too. That night, alone on the balcony, Jack wrapped his arms around me. Irene, he whispered, still not ready to be my girlfriend. I laughed softly. It's not that. He tightened his hold. Then let's start from marriage. Love will follow. But I can't wait anymore. My heart pounded. Are you serious? He kissed my neck, soft and sure. I'm Jack, 28 years old. No exes, no bad habits. Just one girl. You in my heart for years. Tears welled. I'm Irene, 23. One failed love. Ready for forever. With the man beside me, we held each other. For once I knew I had chosen right. The seasons changed, and so did I. Jack and I never felt the need to announce our relationship. His steady presence was enough. A quiet promise that I no longer had to face life alone. Our days passed gently, filled with shared moments of calm and support. For the first time, I felt what it was like to be cared for without conditions, without games. But just when I thought my past was behind me, Larry reappeared. I was walking back from class when I saw him, standing near the entrance where Jack usually waited for me. "Irene," he called out. I kept walking. He caught my arm. "There's nothing between me and Helen anymore. I was drunk. She just reminded me of you." I pulled my arm away sharply. "Stop saying that," I said coldly. "It disgusts me." Larry looked broken. "I know I messed up. Please give me one more chance." I tilted my head, skeptical. "You want a second chance?" His eyes lit with hope. "Then go back and undo the day you left me at our engagement. Take back every lie, every kiss you gave her. Then maybe." The light in his eyes faded. "Irene, have you fallen for Jack?" he whispered. I didn't answer, but my silence spoke volumes. Larry's voice rose, jealousy twisting every word. "What does he have that I don't?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "In every way," I said quietly. "He's better than you." Larry staggered back as if slapped. "That's cruel," he murmured. I stepped closer. "Cruel? You left me on the day we were supposed to be engaged. You kissed someone else while saying you loved me. Now you want to talk about cruelty." He was silent. I turned to walk away, but he grabbed me again. "We've known each other for 20 years. You're really going to choose Jack over that?" I looked at him, not with anger, but with pity. "Jack didn't choose me over someone. He chose me, period." And I walked away. Behind me I heard one last thing. "Irene, I never agreed to break up." I smiled. "I never needed your agreement." That night, Jack called. "I'm booking the earliest flight. I want to see you now." When he arrived, I hadn't even finished getting ready, but it didn't matter. He looked at me like I was everything he'd been waiting for. Before I could run to him, Helen appeared. "Irene," she shouted, eyes wild. "Are you satisfied now?" "He doesn't want me. He says I'll never be you." I stepped back, startled. "This isn't about me, Helen. You did this to yourself. You think you're better than me." She spat. "You cling to Jack just like I did to Larry." I was about to answer, but her rage was already overflowing. She lunged. Jack was faster. He blocked her with ease, pulling me close. Security arrived and took Helen away, for good this time. As she was dragged off, she screamed, "Why do people protect you? Why do you have everything?" I looked at her calmly. "Because I never begged to be chosen. I chose myself." Helen was expelled, her record destroyed. The chapter finally closed. I thought I would feel satisfaction. Instead I felt peace. Jack healed slowly. I stayed by his side, feeding him, laughing with him, scolding him gently. One evening across the dinner table, he looked at me and said, "Irene, will you marry me?" I blinked. "What happened to dating first?" He grinned. "We've already done the hard parts. Now I want to build something easy, something safe, with you." And this time I didn't hesitate. We held a small ceremony, just a few close friends, some flowers, soft music. Jessica cried more than I did. Alex tried to hide his smile all night. I looked at Jack and realized, this is what love should feel like. Not chaos, not being second choice, not bleeding for someone to see your worth. Real love doesn't demand proof, it simply stays. Later that night, as we stood on the balcony, Jack pulled me close. "Irene," he whispered, "after everything you've been through, do you regret it?" I looked up. "No," I whispered. "Because without the storm, I wouldn't have found my shelter." He smiled, kissed me, and held me tight. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a girl waiting to be saved. I felt like a woman who had saved herself. Life with Jack settled into a comforting rhythm, quiet, steady, and full of gentle care. It was everything I had longed for, but never believed I deserved. Every day I felt a little stronger, a little more whole. Larry became a distant memory, a ghost of a love that never truly was. One afternoon, as Jack and I walked through the park, he stopped and looked at me. "Irene, you've come so far. You've fought for yourself in ways most people never do." I smiled, feeling the weight of his words. I learned that sometimes love isn't about saving someone else, it's about saving yourself. Jack took my hand, and I'll always be here to hold that hand. Time passed, and with it came new challenges and joys. We built a life on respect, honesty and patience. No games, no secrets, just two people choosing each other every day. And though the scars of the past remained, they didn't define me. I was no longer the girl left waiting on her engagement day. I was the woman who stood tall, loved whole, and free.